Hey guys, so we're in the season of fundraising and how do I get more money? Those questions are starting to pop up. So, do a quick video because one thing that I have found people ask me about grants, they ask me about funding opportunities, which I do send in my newsletter, which you should be a part of if you're not. Every month, I send out different opportunities, both for profits or traditional corporate for profits, cooperatives, socially conscious businesses and for nonprofits. But I have always found that at the end of the day, inclusiveness is the way to go. Inclusiveness is the way to make money. Inclusiveness is the way to create funding opportunities. So, for example, and I wrote these down because I want to make sure I don't forget them. I just read this morning that the National Gallery has gotten a million more visitors per year, or this last year at least. I think it's going to be more this year because of the Obama painting. A million because of the Obama's paintings. I read that there's a Korean coffee shop that has built an entire business model around using robots as waiters, but the robots are voiced and commanded by people who have disabilities and who wouldn't otherwise be able to have a job like that. I read about several clients. I'm so excited. They've gotten some good press on crowdfunding that they've done. So they've raised all their capital expenses for startup through community engagement and crowdfunding opportunities. And then I'm seeing all these different books pop up on platforms and networks and ways to use them and how that is the future. And that's because there's so much capital behind representation and behind inclusion. The key is, how do you lower barriers? And the problem that I see is so many people are talking about networking and platforms and sharing services as if this is something new. So we learned about this during feudal times, but if you read about ancient civilizations and populations, if you look at what the Mayans were doing, they were doing this stuff. It ain't new, right? So it's not something that's far beyond the means of a lot of the clients that I work with that are nonprofits and charities and socially conscious businesses. The thing is, you have to be thinking a different way in terms of leveraging the resources and assets and expertise that you have. So if you're a school that has vans that you only use in the morning and the afternoon, could you be working with a retirement home or retirement homes to lend out the vehicle during a day when you wouldn't otherwise be using it? Same if you're a baker or someone who has a facility and you only use your equipment at certain times of day or on certain days, then why not lease out that equipment? What Netflix and Zipcar and all these other folks did is not new. Again, what they did is they scaled it. And that's where socially conscious businesses and nonprofits tend to falter, right? And so is there a way that you can post the assets that you have online so that people can book it themselves without them having to go through you to get to them? That's what these services did. Is there a way to grow it in terms of how you market it? Marketing it is actually an earned revenue opportunity for you guys and a way to be bringing in more money on things that you aren't really using anyway. And yes, there's some barriers to be thinking about. You have to be thinking about the agreements that you're going to have them sign and the rules that you want to create. There really needs to be some community building to make sure that people aren't misusing the assets and that they actually treat them the same way that they would treat, I would say, their things, but some people don't treat their things very well. So we'll treat your things well. There's insurance and things that you have to be thinking about. That's a little bit new. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've missed. So there's some barriers there, but that is not an end-all, be-all. And these are things that, again, can be crowdsourced. Other things that you want to think about is structures. Should you form a cooperative around whatever it is that you're wanting to do, or some type of entity to protect yourself in the organization? Is there special filings that you have to make? So there's some things. Don't let that scare you. Again, I have so many socially conscious businesses and nonprofits that have been doing this stuff anyway, but the difference is they're doing it for free. And though I don't believe in exploiting and charging people an exorbitant amount of money for access to resources, I don't believe in free either. And there's a lot of organizations that are missing out on an opportunity to not only subsidize themselves, but to grow the work that they could be doing by thinking this way and finding ways that they can leverage what they already have, lower the barriers so that others can have access to that, and then find ways to monetize or make money off of it. knowing that making money off of it does not make them bad people, it makes them more impactful people. So I say all that to say, if you're looking for ways to raise money, if you're looking for funding opportunities, you may have one already available to you, and it might be a matter of just using it differently and not necessarily seeing it the way that you would a Netflix or a Zipcar. Bearing in mind that they don't charge exorbitant amounts either, right? They charge enough to cover the resources and then make a profit. So be thinking that way, find a lens, look and see if there's opportunities for you to lower the barrier for access to things that you may have, to people who are in the community, to other businesses or other organizations, and then find opportunities to scale that up, maybe having that put on a website so people can book it themselves, marketing it as an actual service, the same way you would event rental, room rentals, and things like that, and see where that gets you. All right, guys, I hope you have a good week.